Hi, hello, and welcome to Rebel Unicorn Crafts. Today we're going to be going over how to paint some super simple evergreen trees with watercolor. For this tutorial, you'll need some greenish colors, or maybe blue would be nice. Or really, you can do this with whatever colors you want, but I am using a round brush, a size 12 with synthetic bristles to do this tutorial. The way that I paint my evergreen trees is I start by marking out where my trunk is going to be with a single nice vertical line just to kind of determine where the center is as well as how tall it's going to be. And then painting these is going to also kind of double as a brush work exercise because all we want to do if you've got a nice round brush with a nice tip is tap. We want to tap a little bit to get some different little brush strokes and a little bit of different movements. And you want to be super careful near the top, just hint to a few different boughs there. And then you can get a little bit thicker, add a little more pressure as you move down, and you also want to move outward. Don't forget that white space is key here. Trees are not perfect. They have gaps and areas where maybe branches have broken off, where birds have built nests, and the boughs sag, so there's a little bit of white space. So remember to not cover every single piece of the paper up as you move downward. Doing that in itself is what's going to kind of bring these to life and make them feel a little bit more magical. The other thing you can do is you can vary the color and the saturation as you move down and outward in different areas to get different saturation levels of the color that will create some kind of variation and visual interest in these trees. If you are painting a large group of trees, consider changing both the heights as well as the spacing of these to make them feel a little more natural and a little bit more like it's actually placed in nature where things aren't so super planned. Unless you're going for a super graphic style, then go for it. You do you. I know when I started painting trees like this, it took me a bit to get this down. So if your first one doesn't look quite how you wanted it to, that's okay. It's going to take a little bit of practice. And more than likely, the main thing I actually see happen is people overthink when they are painting something like this, and they try to over control the brush. Yes, we do want to vary the pressure, and we want to be kind of careful where we're putting it, but don't overthink it too much, because the looser you can be with this, the more it's going to kind of mimic nature, because that's kind of how nature works. It's got a plan, but then it adapts and just goes with whatever is happening. Another fun variable that you can play with, the ones that I'm kind of painting now are maybe similar to a Colorado blue spruce, and that's kind of how the bristles and the boughs are going to be placed and the direction they're going to be moving. You can change really small variables like making the ends upturned to turn it into a very different type of tree. So if you're trying to mimic a different type of tree, take a look at that tree and just pay attention to the direction the boughs are, how far apart they are, and things like that to play with a few little variables to change this tree pretty drastically with just some little tiny changes. I hope you find this tutorial helpful. If you did, please consider subscribing to my YouTube channel, and I hope that you have a magically creative day.